Hi guys, have you ever wondered what it's like to see the world through a lens most people can't? When your mind races with ideas others find too complex or abstract to follow, is it a blessing or a burden? Not everyone is naturally drawn to or even interested in deep discussions about abstract or creative ideas. There's this common belief that everyone is creative like me, but let's be honest, that's not true. Real creativity is rare, and if you're someone who thrives on that kind of thinking or loves diving into big ideas, you're part of a distinct minority. It's kind of like being super extroverted or highly conscientious. These are traits that most people don't share. So, instead of trying to fit in where those traits aren't valued, you should focus on finding like-minded people who can actually keep up. Think of it like this. Heavyweight lifters don't compete against lightweights because it just wouldn't make sense. There's an understanding that you need to be around people with similar abilities. The same thing applies when it comes to intellectual or creative pursuits. You need to find your tribe, a community where these traits are the norm, and ideally, you want a relationship that clicks on that level too. It's all about surrounding yourself with the right people who get you and help you grow. After all, you wouldn't try to run a marathon with people who only sprint, right? What often leads to the isolation of traits like creativity or intellectualism is the arrogance that sometimes comes along with them. It's one thing to be curious or creative, but it's another to fall into what the Catholic Church has cautioned against for centuries, the arrogance of intellect. Being smart and being wise are not the same thing, and there's no clear road that automatically connects the two. Some of the wisest people I've met weren't necessarily intellectuals, but they had a deep wisdom that came from life experience. This kind of intellectual arrogance can create a barrier between people, and I've noticed it firsthand, especially in places like the US not too long ago. I saw some very smart friends speak about Trump voters with outright disdain, dismissing them as stupid or beneath them. But that's a risky and narrow view to take, especially when half the population voted for him. Assuming that millions of people are just unintelligent isn't just wrong, it's also unwise. It's a reminder that intelligence doesn't necessarily equal wisdom, and dismissing others based solely on intellectual pride can blind us to that fact. If you're someone with intellect but also possess a well-rounded character, you can absolutely thrive within a specialized, creative, or intellectual community. But what's key is developing enough wisdom to truly appreciate the meaningful contributions made by those outside your intellectual circle. That's part of the deeper message behind Christ being depicted as a carpenter in the New Testament. There's a profound metaphor in that. Being a carpenter is a trade where any dishonesty is instantly revealed, because if you don't build something well, it collapses. A good, honest carpenter builds a strong, lasting house. This serves as a powerful reminder. No matter how intellectually brilliant you are, it should never be confused with moral superiority. Being smart doesn't automatically make you better or wiser than others. It's about character, honesty, and recognizing value in different types of work. If intellectuals could shed their sense of moral superiority, the gap between the working class and the elite would shrink considerably. There's every reason to respect hardworking, decent individuals, as the entire fabric of society rests on their labor, something even the left wing acknowledges. It's entirely possible to belong to an intellectual niche without believing it makes you superior. However, many highly intelligent people wrestle with this. Nietzsche captures this tension perfectly in Thus Spake Zarathustra. When Zarathustra encounters a crowd admiring a small man with an enormous ear, that man symbolizes the modern intellect, someone stunted in all aspects except for their overdeveloped mind. This imbalance often leaves intellectuals feeling bitter when they realize that, outside of their specialized expertise, they don't flourish as easily as they expect. They might think, I'm so smart, everything should just fall into place for me. But life doesn't work that way, and their arrogance and frustration often become painfully visible to others, creating barriers to connection. You see this dynamic in pop culture too, like the Simpsons comic book guy. He has an absurdly high IQ, yet he's completely ineffective in most aspects of life. It's a tough lesson for highly intelligent people to learn that intelligence alone doesn't automatically guarantee success or competence in other areas, and this often leads to bitterness and resentment. Thank you for sticking with me through this exploration. I hope this journey has shaken your identity a bit and made you question the foundation of your existence. So hit that like button, drop a comment below, and subscribe if you're ready to keep questioning everything. Because remember, everything can change in just 1 second.